Section 2.2, Properties from Algebra. There are many connections between algebra and geometry. This lesson reviews the algebraic properties of equality that will be then used to write proofs and solve problems. The properties of equality you already know. Addition property. If A equals B and C equals D, then A plus C equals B plus D. Subtraction property. If you have two numbers that are equal and two additional numbers that are equal, when you subtract them, they become equal. Multiplication property. If A is equal to B, then if you multiply A by a number and B by the same number, then those two will still be equal. Division property. If you have two numbers that are equal and you're dividing them by the same number, C, you will find that A divided by C is equal to B divided by C. The substitution property is something that you've used quite a bit, you just never knew that there was a formal name for it. If A is equal to B, then either A or B may be substituted for the other in an equation or in an inequality. The properties that you saw for equality also have similar properties of congruence. These properties are kind of new and different, but they're very logical, so they should be very easy to understand. The first one is the reflexive property. Think of your reflection in a mirror. A equals A. That's a property of equality. But in a property of congruence, this is where we're talking about segments and angles. The segment AB is congruent to the segment AB, and angle D is congruent to itself. Reflexive. Just like a reflection, you look just the same in the mirror as you do looking directly at your face. The second property is the symmetric property. If A equals B, then B equals A. That's the equality side. For the congruence side, if you have two segments that are congruent to each other, then it doesn't matter what the order is. You might want to think about this as almost like the commutative property. If angle D is congruent to angle E, then angle E is congruent to angle D. The last property that we're going to talk about is called the transitive property. And the transitive property says, if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. It's kind of like if you think that if 1 is equal to 2 and 2 is equal to 3, then 1 is equal to 3. Of course, that doesn't make sense, but you get the idea. The transitive property for congruence is if the segment AB is congruent to FG and FG is congruent to LM, then segment AB is congruent to segment LM. Likewise, it works with angles. If angle D is congruent to angle E and angle E is congruent to angle F, then angle D is congruent to angle F. These properties are going to become very important when we start doing proofs, which will happen tomorrow morning when you walk in the door.